This guy's in the bottom right side of Acropolis. Our red Zerg is Jundaming. Jundaming. And the top left hand side, our blue Protoss player. From the depths of shitty microphones. Parting. He does have a pretty shitty microphone. 10 parting stream on yesterday for a couple minutes. I was just checking streams out. I was like, how does anybody watch this? Like, I know some people like to mute my stream because they hate the casting, sure. But why even, like, does anyone watch parting stream without it muted? Like, it's actually crazy. It's so awful. Like, it's kind of impressive to find a microphone that sounds that bad nowadays. You know what I mean? To find a microphone that's that bad is really it's insane, honestly. I'm genuinely surprised that he can do it. That way he just kept his last microphone for a while. Anyways, we are setting up here, guys, and it is game number 1 of this series, as we do see a hatchery dropping in on the 3rd base. Facility dropping down in the main, as we do see the gateway just chrono boosting out an adept. That's going to be popping in the next couple of moments. So adept is going to start shading out down toward the center of the map. We do have this Zergling just coming in. Gonna be in a little bit of trouble right away, though, honestly, so has to be a little bit careful there. As the link continues to run. The adept shades back home, though, so not going to be sticking around for too long here, as we are going to see the link pulling back through the natural. So Zergling will go down. Prism on the way up. This Robo Facility opener from Parting will give him the map control. It's the kind of opener I'd expect to see Parting using. He loves these kind of aggressive builds where you can get on the map nice and easily, and really take make some pressure happen and stuff like that. So that's exactly what the War Prism allows you to do. And of course, from there, there's a lot of aggressive attacks you can go for also. Pixel 1 and Ocean Gaming, both teams looking to go 2-0 in this group, so this is an important series for them. Could put them in a really good position for the rest of the league. And on top of that, as this Rotron drops down from Jundaming, Jundaming is kind of looking to continue to prove himself, because Jundaming really was one of the best Chinese players for a little while, and now he's absolutely kind of fallen away from that, so that's obviously a shame, and it would be awesome to see him kind of showing us in this league why he used to be one of the best, and show us what else he can still come out with, of course. Parting going into Immortal production, he's actually never really gotten too aggressive with that Warp Prism. That's still just at home. He's actually waiting for this first Immortal at the very least before it goes and tries to commit to something here. Second Immortal chrono boosting out as well. Kind of feels like Parting is just going to go with +1 and Immortals, really. Lands on another gateway, of course. He does throw down a 3rd Nexus now, so now, of course, with 42 probes, could just be a little bit of a fake out. So we're going to be able to push that circle away down the left-hand side, and just going to be seeing the Immortal production continuing. Again, he's a couple more probes coming in, but we're not past that point of it being like, a ton of probes yet where you can go and saturate a 3rd Nexus, right? So that was what we're still somewhat watching out for. So do you see this prison going to come and sit along over to the side? Just going to start harassing a little bit, but we are still seeing more probes being built and a cannon built too, so we might see a bit of a push across the map to force some units, but most likely feels as though Parting will then pull back home. He's actually only on 3 gates. Wow. I kind of thought he was building more gates than that. I just didn't check. Oh, I really thought he had more gates on the way. Well, call me crazy. Of course he's not going to be doing anything too insane in this scenario. My bad, guys. Bit awkward. We do have the army continuing down. As we see Zergling getting picked off already. A couple of creep teamers starting to go down as well. Pressing up, Parting. And the Twilight Council behind this. And oh my god, Jundaming's already pulling drones in. Just loses 13 drones instantly. Parton's just going to push across and win the game. Wow, kind of, again, like Parton is setting up for the later stages too, right? Twilight Council on the way, etc. You can start +2 other upgrades. Jundaming just doesn't even roll over and die. He literally doesn't even roll this. We have to the bottom right-hand side our red Protoss player. This is Parting. Up against the blue Zerg in the top left, Jundaming. As we kick into game 2 of this series. Ephemeron, going to be our map. Nice large map. Going to be interesting to see what exactly Parting will come up with here. I mean, there's definitely opportunities for him to still push forwards if he wants to go forth and be aggressive in the end. Just going to see another couple of drones popping out for the moment. Gateway coming in at home. Early game build up here for the next little while. How are we all feeling out in the chat? How's everyone doing? Anyone got any fun things excited for this week? Everyone excited for WCS Fall? That comes up on this weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Make sure you check that out, of course, live from Montreal. Gonna be pretty fun. Looking forward to it. As we're going to be seeing the Overlord here wandering around. Gas and Pool coming up. Overlord continuing down the bottom. Probe from Parton is going to wander up the center. Going to go and have a little bit of a look to see what's going on. What's up, Marsbar in the chat? How you doing, dude? Wish FanTaSy had more points so you could go to BlizzCon. Wish a lot of players could go to BlizzCon, you know? Rubber facility from Parting will drop down in this main base. So getting that up and running, this Nexus about halfway done. It's going to be finishing soon enough as we do see the hatchery coming in towards the third base as well. So a lot of moving around here initially. The couple of lings from Jundaming pulling out on the map. But they turn around to chase down this probe, so we're seeing a little bit of a chase here. And there's a sleek little probe is not going to get away. That really was a little chase. I guess the Adept coming over, of course, means the Lings are going to pull back. Be a little bit careful overall. And as you see the Adept shading up towards the ramp there. Going to cancel its shade though, and the Lings going to take a little bit more damage. Queen continuing to fire onto this Adept. Adept shades back out into the center. Couple more Queens going to be coming into play. They'll be finishing in just a few moments' time, and otherwise, this otherwise it's still just going to be pretty patient here, watching for this War Prism. Parton, I mean, so far very similar to game number 1, right? So might just be, I mean, that first build went so well for him. You might just say, well, you know, I didn't really even do anything special. Let's just kind of do what I did again, because at the end of the day, if he struggled so much with it in the first game, is he really going to magically find an answer for it in game number 2? As we are going to be seeing. Link speed about halfway done. Roach Roaring dropping down into the main. So we are just going to be seeing that Ling Roach setup again. Yeah, no real surprises there. No lair, not really needed when you're not playing against an Archon drop early. It means you can just spend a bit more time droning up, a bit more time heading into a stronger economy, although 38 drones and heading in towards a bunch of Lings now, I guess just wants to make sure he can defend this attack. Parton will go for a different setup here, Twilight Council instead of a Forge. So last game he went Forge. Usually you see kind of like a Forge and a Twilight at the same time, so maybe this time he goes, oh, a Dark Shrine. So actually he will kind of continue to be aggressive as the third base is, well, going to take some damage. Roaches can be starting to build about now. This set of units is actually in quite a bit of trouble, honestly. Force is going to drop down. The Sentry and the Immortal will have to lift up again. Good cleanup from Jundaming. Yeah, has the Zerglings to shut that down without any real issue this time around. So this is a job well done. As you see, Well, Ling's going to go and counterattack against that too, but there's a Zealot in this wall off, and Roach is on the way up, so we will be seeing, of course, the Roaches being able to shut this down, turn this around. What will be interesting is this Dark Shrine, because we're still without a lair. And honestly, as this DT Shrine finishes, if Party just swaps in 4 DTs, sends 1 to each base, this game ends. There is no Spore Crawler, there is no lair. I don't even know, is Jundaming just going aggressive? Because he's still building Roaches, and the problem is, without a lair, you can't get aggressive with Roachling, because you just don't have the Overseer of detection. So, this game is about 5 seconds away from beginning to end, because as soon as these DTs warp in, okay, now Spore Crawler's build, now Parting, just wasting time building DTs, now 2 of them come up. Man, the Spores are just in time, aren't they? 2 DTs towards the natural. He could still target down the Spore Crawler, though. It's only just going to be finished. Yeah, he could target it down if he wanted to, but instead he's just going to spread the DTs out, bring his Warp Prism over towards the 3rd. Wow, this is actually going to continue on. Parton is not going to die here just, kill Jundaming here just yet. Man, just a few things. I mean, if Parton warps in more than 2 DTs, if he sends them both towards the natural, if he warps them in as soon as the Dark Shrine finished, a lot of bits and pieces that Parton could have done there to do a lot better. Jundaming very fortunate to get those spores up at that time, because that was absolutely last possible moment for him, so nice save from Jundaming. Those spores absolutely essential. He's still, okay, now he is on a lair, so he did get that up at some point as well. While I was babbling on. STT just comes back in, by the way, and Fling's just not here in time to actually put up much of a defense. The 7 drones will go down. Spire's going to drop in the back of this mineral line. Spire on the way up in the main base. Again, this Prism out the front, an Immortal and a Sentry inside. Melee upgrade starting, Roach speed on the way out. A couple of extra gateways dropping down from Parton as well here in the main, so getting that set up and ready to go. Snake Phoenix up into the main base as well, so doing a pretty good job over there. Parton will pull back over to the right-hand side, Sentry and the Immortal dropping down. There's going to be another Dark Templar warping in on this right-hand side, and we still see Parting coming up through the center of the map here. Solid Stalkers, Sentries, and an Archon all coming over, and this is what Parton's larger attack has been building up to, right? This kind of Immortal Archon push. I mean, it just feels like a lot of Roaches were made early in this game where they weren't needed and so on. That could affect the economy to the point where you maybe don't have enough right now. Let's see. First few force fields are pretty good. The Zerglings running forwards aren't doing too much. The replacement of force fields there is pretty quick as well once the Corrosive Bars have knocked them down. And yeah, Parton's absolutely killing this. These Zealots on the top side are currently going unhindered into the mineral line. As Immortals continue to fire away, Roaches continue to drop, and I mean, drones stacked up here. Archons will have a fun time on that one as, yeah, this is just, again, Jundaming just hasn't had an answer to these pushes, and it just feels like Parton has absolutely been the better player in these 2 maps. Just able to wander across, basically, when he feels fit to do so, and able to take game number 2. Passing to Jundaming versus Special. In the bottom right-hand side, looking to put the first points on the board today for Ocean Gaming, our Blue Terran Special. Up against the red Protoss top left, Firefly. Thank you so much, Archaon, for the Twitch Prime sub during that break. Really do appreciate it, dude. We just sent out a replay pack, guys, yesterday. 400 replays of players such as SOS, Cure, Rogue, Euthermal, Showtime, Keen, FanTaSy, Zest, and many, many more. Race and matchups, all races, all European, Korean players. It's crazy. So that is available on our subscriber Discord. If you want to become a subscriber, get your hands on 400 plus replays, and of course, any future replays that release as well will all be yours too, as long as you're a subscriber. Do check that out as we have this SCV on a bit of a journey around. Reaper is going to hop up into the main base as we have the probe. Coming around the top right as well. Reaper is going to drop a grenade, and that probe is going to get taken down. So, probe gets shot down there. And the probe chased away to the left-hand side is going to also just survive. Wow. The Stalker will be able to pick up the kill once into the Reaper. But yeah, good little scout from the Reaper. The unfortunate thing is there's nothing actually to scout in the main base. There was no tech choice made here yet by Firefly. Starport on the way up in the main base from Special. The Widowmine building up on the factory, and a couple more Marines on the way out as well. So a few more Marines continue to come out, and again, just going to be seeing the orbital command about to finish up on the natural. So finishing that orbital, SCV, another mule dropping in as well. So a lot of build up here from Special. Just getting a lot of mining underway as we do see 2 more gateways starting up in the main base as well. So yeah, a little bit of build up as Hallucinated Phoenix will now set up and start to head out through the center of the map here down to the bottom right hand side. Robo facility will continue up again. 3 gates before the Robo. It's kind of an aggressive setup, really, because you're going to have a lot of gateway units, and as the Robo comes up, you can get a Prism to maybe go across the map and get very aggressive, you know, even further aggressive, right? So, I would imagine there should be aggression, but so far, doesn't seem to be any aggression at all. Okay, on in the chat says, keep up the awesome work. Well, thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. I do appreciate the Twitch Prime. Goes a long way, and yes, this week is going to be a bit slow, guys. After tomorrow, we're not going to have any StarCraft Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I'm back next week. And from next week, we stream StarCraft every single day until October 5th or so. So we've got a load of StarCraft coming up for you guys for the rest of the month. Just taking my chance to have a few days off while WCS Fall is on. This medevac gets shut down. Widowmine did get to unburrow there and go off, but nothing too crazy. A Stalker killed. Good defense here by Firefly. Medevac and the 3 Widowmines down. Again, not really much gained there right away as a couple Stalkers continuing up. Robobay on the way out here. Forge is finishing. Plus 1 attack starting as we're going to be seeing the Engineering Bay in the back of the natural. A couple more barracks going to figure out what they want to do. Looks like they want to go into the tech labs. This one's going to go and take place on the tech lab of the Starport. I love it. They're going to cross over rather than just go next neighbors. Crosses over, and this is going to be obviously Stim to start. Special continues setup now. Firefly, by the way, obviously Special big favorite in this, but if Firefly takes a map, puts so much pressure on FanTaSy in the on Zest, sorry, in the last games. And obviously it can only take 1 map if Ocean Gaming want to stay in this. If somehow Firefly finds both maps against Special, this series is over then and there, 4-0. Phoenix just hanging up in the skies. Marines will be able to take that out nice and easy. A few Stalkers, Zealots, Sentries, and a Colossus coming out through the center. Just going to be seeing a couple of shield batteries dropping in on the 3rd base there in the auto turret. Dropping down over on this left side as well. So dropping that into the natural as this Raven flying around is looking for another auto turret. So looking to give up this pressure, and so far good target fire on a couple of the low health probes. Trying to capitalize on the damage output. 5 probes killed. Cute little way to use the Raven, although it does mean it's not going to have as much energy for matrixing down Colossus when a fight might happen a bit later on. As Special is going to be on siege and tanks and starting to press forwards a little bit. And a few probes just continuing to mine away here. Sorry guys, I'm just going to quickly edit the stream title because I realize it is currently incorrect. Just trying to keep on top of that. Perfect. Let's see, Stalker, Sentries, Colossus pressing into the middle of the map. 7 up for the top Stalkers. Able to get one of the medevacs here. Medevac will lift up. Just away around the top side in towards the main. Colossus still pressing forwards. Marine gets lasered down. A few more Marines unloading, and we are going to see some probes continue to get picked off. Colossus will continue to fire. Over in this natural expansion. It was the auto turret yet again. Only got one more worker though, so altogether good continued defense from Firefly. Charge on the way in the main base. We're going to be seeing the 3rd CC over on the left hand side as well. Continue setup, +1 armor on the engineering bay in the back of this mineral line. 2 tanks all sieged across the front. Disruptor on the way out of the robo facility. And the +2 attack continuing in as well. Forge dropping down in the main. Couple more gates. Templar Archives on the way out at the moment. Link coming up as we do see this Bioforce from Special coming up into the middle of the map towards the top side. Marine and the Marauder here fighting away against the pylon, which will drop. Another scan just on top of this army, keeping track of it for the moment. And this Bioforce pressing forwards, Disruptor will go down. And again, just going to be seeing this pylon dropping as the stun continues in towards this natural expansion. Pylon will get picked off there as well. A few Stalkers and Lazard on the top side. Going to be able to pick off a Marine. Again, this Bioforce back to the right. Going to come through. Instantly picks up a probe. Pylon Nexus. All of that going down here as we are going to be seeing the Stargate continues up in the main base. 2 more Liberators on the way out here from Specials. Again, 2 more Libs up and running. Prism into the natural mineral line and unloading here. We are going to see those Fusiliers going down as the War Prism gets pushed away. So the rest of this bio pulling back down to the center, or bottom center. Next is going to drop, pylon to follow. 3 more Archons on the way up, going to be coming up in front of this Nexus as well. Setting up in towards that as we do see Marines spreading out a little bit. 1 Marine to the right, a Marine in the center. Off and away too. +2 attack and armor continuing up on the engineering base. So still a lot of build up here as a 4th base from Special is down in location. And Special is maxed out. Very tank heavy force, important to note. Probably fairly reliant on the fact that it is a map with a lot of these choke points that the tanks will cover very effectively. Problem for Special, obviously, if he wants to attack right now while maxed out, very tough for him to push through those ramps, especially if the Disruptor's in play. He's going to try pressing forward. He has to be so careful at the moment. Hallucinate Phoenix takes a couple shots of damage, and yeah, the bio, a little bit of back and forth at the moment. Oh my god. Force Field's cut this army in half as well, and Special was just caught on the ramp, and Firefly was able to get a decent connection here to start this off. Tanks firing, doing pretty well also. Rest of this army continue to move around the middle of the map. 2 attack, +2 armor. Still coming into play. Raven will be shot down there as the Stalker's coming in, and just going to be seeing this little chunk of bio running up to the top right-hand side. Is it going to come by and jump straight onto this pylon? So pylon will go down. Well, pylon's going to go down here actually. Continue to drop in the back of this mineral line. 7 probes picked off as Archons coming forwards as well. So Archon's able to get rid of even more of these units. But again, 8 probes going down. It's not bad damage from Special, who's back to being maxed out with enhanced shockwaves on the way up. There's Tempest production coming in from Firefly. I believe the Tempests are just the intention of being able to pick away at the tanks a bit more easily, but yeah, I mean, maybe he's preparing for Liberators, which aren't actually on the way. This Disruptor shot is too far gone. That was an interesting Marine split. That's a lift up. A few more Marines going down. Yeah, that's almost like he's trying to activate the old Disruptor. And obviously, old Disruptors, they used to fire as soon as it hit kind of, you know, unit went into its zone, it would detonate. rather than being on this timer. Bio up to the top. We're going to be seeing the Colossus firing away. Marauder taken down. Disruptor is going to get killed off before it actually gets to fire there. These Marauders going to try and kill a Disruptor. They're not successful. Special. Well, again, he's got this kind of tank line, which is powerful, but for what reason would this Protoss army push into that tank line? There's absolutely no need at all, and Special can't really further this position. Up again, we're going to be seeing this army continuing to take a lot of hits. The tanks going forwards are starting to deal quite a bit of damage now. Marines are getting in range of the Tempest, and actually one of the Tempests will go down, only just in the end. More tanks setting up over here. Disruptor shot will hit tanks on this ramp, and actually going to be seeing the Tempest turns around for 2 of the kills to capitalize on the Disruptor damage, but feels like Special's doing a bit too much at the moment. Firefly has money but isn't spending it, and Special's push across these bridges is beginning to work out. Warp Prism try and warp in on top of tanks, but it's just getting, units insta-killed basically. And as the Ghost could lift into a medevac to chase down that Prism if they wanted to, but will instead just focus on bringing the tanks further forwards again. There's still a Tempest, which may be a little bit of an issue. There's not too much anti-air here. Viking or 2 starting to show up. Tanks just do so much in this scenario. Disruptor at least gets rid of one of those tanks now. Tank cap has been cut down a lot from where we were at. Special actually introducing Thors into the army to fight against those Tempests. So really committing to Thors. I mean, we have seen Thors being used now and again in TVP later in the game, but it's not a common occurrence to say the least. And Thors were unfortunately rallied up into the middle, so they kind of got picked off pretty easily before we got to see much of them. They killed a Colossus, but yeah, those 2 or 3 Thors actually went down there, which is obviously a bit of a shame. But 2 more already set to go as Special kills that top base. Now he forces the 4th base in the center of the map, and that becomes a lot easier for him to push into. Push up this ramp or this ramp over here. A lot more open space for him to work with for pushing into. But obviously a bit worse for his siege tanks, of course, which are very good when it comes to those choke points. So these units pressing forwards here. Tank story going to siege up. Disruptor shot doesn't go off. The tanks are able to kill it. And again, this forward 4th base feels like it's going to be in a bit of trouble here as Bio continues to press forwards. A couple tanks spreading out a little bit. One of the Colossus goes down pretty much instantly. That Disruptor doesn't really connect on much either, and this army of the Terran player is just going to be too strong. Firefly put up a great fight. Special will have too much here in Game 3. The 1,500 subs. Albeit 1,100 of them may be gifted. It counts in my heart. Yeah, actually crazy. Excited for Christmas this year in December when we're going to do the typical stream as much as we can in December. I'm going to be doing that in December again, and maybe we'll have another sub run there. And whether I'll be able to give this one a run for its money, well, that's the question. I mean, when you involve Christmas trees and baubles, I feel like anything is possible. So, setting this up. Did you see the probe running up to the top side? Acropolis for our next map. Some nice large maps being used here. Ephemeron into Acropolis, both maps with that similar idea of just straight up being large, right? So it's intriguing way to get going. CV is going to be able to start up that command center on the natural, and we don't really have the choke points being as much of an issue on this map. The bigger issue on this map is not so much being able to push into your opponent as much as it is just being able to get across the map in general, because it is quite large to push across, and the bases aren't really on like direct attack paths, so that is kind of the weakness here for the Terran compared to on Ephemeron, where pushing across those bridges at times were a bit of a difficulty, obviously. Probe having a little bit of a wander around as we do see this Marine continue across as well. Pilot Council dropping in on the main base as we do see the Reaper is going to go down. Stalker able to grab that kill. SCV coming around to the right-hand side. And then Marine over to the left. Wait, what? When did we drop the extra 100? The extra 100 subs came from Whoosh during the marbles yesterday. It was just crazy yesterday, honestly. It was actually just ridiculous. I don't have better words for it, honestly. Like, I wish I did, but I really don't, so. As Blink comes up on the Twilight Council, we are going to be seeing the probes continue to gather together, and that Orbital Command pumping down a few more SCVs. Muleball dropping down. We're just going to see probably a couple Widow Mines dropping initially out of Special just to apply that first bit of pressure, while the Blink Stalkers will be the opening here to give Firefly bit of map presence and stuff like that. Who is gifted 1100 subs? Well, Kybrit gifted 700. V Triple is gifted about 100. Whoosh has gifted over 100. Montian has gifted a lot. X-Force has gifted a lot. Papa Mitch has gifted a lot. We had like 6 or 7 people who have just been like legends on the stream this month. So, yeah, and yesterday we were like pretty close to hitting a sub goal for a new sub emote. And we had pretty much all the large sub gifters in the chat. They all decided to team up and go crazy, so it was pretty bonkers. Just as a bit of a reminder, guys, I said yesterday we're going to do some marbles today. Unfortunately, something has come up and I have to leave the stream after today's StarCraft matches. But I will absolutely will be doing some bonus marbles, maybe on Thursday, maybe on Monday. We'll probably do like a nice long marble stream. But I don't know if we're going to do like only marbles or if we're going to do marbles. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if we're going to do only marbles or if we're going to do some StarCraft into marbles. But I promise we'll do some marbles because I said we'd do marbles today. But like I said, something real life has come up, so I can't stick around as long as I would have hoped for. Now, Stalker's going to be chasing around. They are going to be able to get a Widow Mine there, blinking down. It's a good cleanup, but I mean, 4 probes is obviously kind of what you're hoping for. As Firefly's just adding on another gateway, so he's actually getting very aggressive up to the top. A lot of Blink Stalker's going to be very aggro in the next few moments. It's not the best of maps for blinking up into the main, though. Like, the main has this sort of, well, this patio dining area between it and the rest of the map. Don't know who would want to eat their dinner there, but, you know, it's not the best location to really go blinking up. So now you can maybe pressure at the front, but how much is that going to achieve? CV is going down, couple picked up so far. Stalkers blinking back, and just going to be seeing the Stalkers. I mean, they kind of blink in for a siege tank kill, but look how many Stalkers go down, right? That's the important part of this. 4 Stalkers killed, and what, you got 2 SCVs in the siege tank? So far, would not really say that was so effective. We'll probably be hoping for a little bit more. Do you see those Stalkers blinking back again? The Warp Prism on the way up to the top side, and we are going to see the couple Marauders pop in, and well, Adepts obviously can one-shot these SCVs, so that should be what they're targeting down. Again, Firefly with all of the aggression, although now Special makes a move forwards, is able to keep that Raven up, which is important. The Stalkers will absolutely be looking to target and prioritize that Raven. As you do see, Firefly gets 8 SCVs. I mean, continue to do pretty good damage, but back at home, I mean, 47 army supplied to 21 is already in Special's favor, and Special is only 8 workers down after losing those SCVs, so it means that this economy of Firefly wasn't exactly amazing to begin with. And Special's not far away from being aggressive because he's got Combat Shield Star, he's got +1 attack coming in. It's going to be seeing extended thermal lance on the way up. Getting this ready to roll, charge +1. How far away are we from another sub emote now? We're actually like 76 subs away from another sub emote, but I feel like I've already hyped up the whole let's unlock more sub emotes already. So I'm kind of just stopping because I don't want to, I don't know, I don't want to seem greedy. So we're 76 away, but if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm not going to push and yell and scream about it like we did yesterday as much. Because we've already gone way above and beyond what I thought was possible. So army here from Special coming down through the center of the map. Combat Shield is going to be finishing in a moment or so. So this is the big push. I mean, SCVs are pulled as well. Special just 3 bases, SCV pull. Again, he has a good army advantage. Now the Colossus, there is one out, and it is coming back down from the main base. Force fields will be important here as well, and that's why Special will initially go for these rocks. So clean nose up. Does have the interference matrix available on the Raven, remember, so if you can hit the interference matrix on the Colossus, it's obviously pretty powerful. Tank's not doing much right now. The sentries will not force field. Special trying to bait a force field there, but the army actually down on the bottom. Shield batteries are building on the 3rd base. I'm not sure how well that's going to go. There's the matrix on one Colossus. There's more matrix to be used. And we'll use it probably when he knows for sure there's a fight going to be happening across the map. Zealots get warped into the main, and Special will struggle to deal with it, although he's supply block too, so he hasn't even really been building as many units as he'd like to. A few more reinforcements are about arriving, and this is it. Time to go. The force fields are good and will buy a lot of time, but maybe the 3rd base will go down. As we are going to be seeing all of these probes starting to drop, so a bunch of probes dropping down right there. We're going to see Zealots in the mineral line still filling off all the SCVs. Feels like Firefly might be about to do this, guys. I mean, all he has to do is keep defending. He's gotten rid of a lot of the matrices on the Prism, which was one of the major parts of this. He recalls the Warp Prism back home. That's really nice because now he can micro the Colossus as well. Here we go. Drops a few Zealots forwards to try and get on top of the tanks quickly. Doesn't save the first Colossus, unfortunately. Siege tanks trying to target fire the Colossus down. Special's doing very well in this fight, unfortunately for Firefly. Has his warping cancelled as well. Special is on 1 SCV. All Firefly has to do is win this fight and clean up this army, and he wins this game. Special has literally 0 production coming in anymore. This should be a save on the Colossus, absolutely a lift up, and that's Special losing a few units. Firefly losing probes. No, he didn't lift up the Colossus because he had a Zealot in the Prism. He lifted up the Zealot instead. What a mistake. And a few Zealots on the way out. Also still firing away. Siege tank still putting herd out onto that Nexus here. Natural expansion might soon fall. You're going to see another wave of units pressing forwards into this as one of these tank sieges up. I tell you what, the 2 Colossus will be able to do a lot right now because the tanks are going to go down. If the tanks go down, the Colossus, oh my god, 1 tank survives. This is actually kind of a crazy fight at the moment as we are going to be seeing this tank still set up. But Special's going to type out GG. He can't take it down, and Firefly's going to take a top of this group, and what a result that would be for them. Top left-hand side, there's FanTaSy. Looking to be the blue Terran player up against a proxied Stargate of Zest. Sorry, I went to the toilet and these guys literally started within like 2 seconds. I just can't catch a break with this tournament. I don't understand why we have to rush into match after match. Like, can't we just have like a couple minutes? The Chinese casters just never stop talking, honestly. It's crazy. Alright, well, SCV coming out into the center. Barracks on the way down in the main, so that's going to be second rack start. Is the factory going to drop down onto the reactor? A couple of Hellions on the way up. And this Rex moves over to the side where Tech Lab is, of course, going to be buildable. So building Tech Lab up on the racks and a couple of probes continuing out as well. Over on the far left, we do see the Oracle Chronobus in here from Zest, so getting that up and running. More Hellions continuing out of the factory, so a lot of build-up for the moment. Hellion-based opening, something that you see to apply quite a bit of pressure here in the PvP, but the problem is if you're building Hellions, they're not going to shoot up, and this Oracle is going to get in and deal some damage. However, it also means there's not as much defense on the other side of the map. The Oracle won't be at home to help defend those Hellions, so if the Hellions do get in, they're guaranteed to get quite a bit of damage done. So here you go, Oracle up to the top left-hand side, starting to set up towards getting into this main base. We saw FanTaSy playing some TVP yesterday, and he did play some pretty long games against Estrella in the WardiTV Summer Championships. Let's see if we can even get to that stage here against Zest, because right now, a Mule, 3 SCVs going down. The Hellions do dive by for 4 probes and up into the main. I mean, the Adepts are shading after them, but there's a lot of damage to be done here. 7 probes down, and Zest is taking a lot of damage. This is up to 11 workers killed. The Adepts will shade, but the Hellions are faster, so they can avoid if they want to. For the moment, they just stick around and get 17 kills. Oh my god, Zest has already taken so much damage off the front of this here. This Hellion turns back around. There's no damage probes in this mineral line, though, so it's going to be tough to get any more kills than what's already been done, but we'll get one more there in the end for 18 probes. Meanwhile, the Oracle coming over and is going to find a couple of SCVs, still more damage, but now we are at the point where there's Marines enough to push Oracles back. Although 3 Oracles together could be a different story. I'm surprised we haven't seen anything off the factory, you know, no Cyclone, etc. Especially with now Adepts moving across, so this is, you know, Zest's counterattack, which has a good chance of being successful when it comes to dealing more damage here. There's no missile turret on the low ground either. FanTaSy might be in some trouble, actually. Those Adepts combined with the Oracles. There's a lot of damage output coming in, so here we go. 5 Adepts already shading up. They're going to go straight on towards those Marines. Again, this missile turret in the natural isn't done yet. There is Stim Pack as he stims and aims towards the Oracles. Another couple of Marines coming down. Gets rid of one of the Oracles here. The Adepts starting to fall. 8 workers lost. A few Marines going up into the main. We'll get Oracle kills as well. So while Zest does get 10 SCVs, he loses a lot of arming forward. This went a lot better for FanTaSy than I imagined it going. Now FanTaSy, the only thing he's missing is actually a starport to go into medevac, so he can actually push across the map and make use of this army, which has stim and hopefully combat shields as well. Oracles fly in, SCV goes down as it is trying to build the starport. These Oracles continue to be a big annoyance at the moment. Zest will continue to dish out some damage then, but man, that army supply of FanTaSy is scary and starting to press across the map, and Zest is tacking Twilight Council Forge, you know, not building units just yet, so needs to keep on top of that. Oracles will see this army coming over, might just drop the Revelation and keep track. Doesn't use the energy just yet. Might want to save the energy for Stasis Ward to help defend. I think Zest can defend this high ground, but I don't think he can defend the third base, so we'll probably get cancelled on that Nexus. Medevacs will be on the way shortly. Starport finishes and moves to the reactor. A little bit of bio pressing forwards. Oracle going to drop the Revelation again. Here you go, Marauders, Marines continuing down to this bottom side. Going to start picking up this Nexus. Nexus is continuing to fall for the moment, and yeah, there's the cancel. FanTaSy is in a great position here. Even ahead on the upgrade. +1 attack done for FanTaSy is amazing in comparison to 0-0 for Zest. +1 halfway done. Obviously, Chrono Boost will allow Zest to play a bit of catch-up there when it comes to the upgrades. Not too much. Bio still around the left-hand side. We are going to be seeing the Blink coming into play now. Robot Facility on the way up in the main base as well. Again, there's bio coming out to the left and a lot more bio out in the middle. First medevacs are here. No third base from Zest. He's 2 base in this at the moment. Oracles are back in. They're being very annoying. If there's been anything that's gone well for Zest this game, is that the Oracles have done a very good amount of damage consistently. 4 more kills there, and while they do take some damage, it's not irrecoverable. I'm just worried about, like, again, Zest's army is literally relying on the fact that these sentries should be able to stop this army running up this ramp. Like, Blink isn't even done yet, right? I mean, that is bad. You can't even blink these Stalkers around. It's real crazy as we see the rest of this bio coming in from the right, and this is a lot. I mean, honestly, I feel like you run up this ramp, you force the force fields, and then you just kind of lift up, back away. We're going to see maybe an attempt to move towards the main. He is just going to pick off this pylon. FanTaSy is perhaps scared of just how much Zest has, but Zest really doesn't have enough, and he's actually hiding a base in the top right-hand side. That's going to be his attempt to take a third base. I mean, obviously, I think FanTaSy is scared because he knows it's 2 base, so he's like, well, I don't have to press the issue. You know, it's usually pretty good for me if this is 2 base against 2 base, building Liberators as well. As 2 more medevacs show up, he will set up a drop towards the main base. He scans, sees where those Stalkers are. He was starting to boost in, but decides not to. The scan's a very good indicator that they're very likely going to be seeing a drop, right? So, yeah, and, you know, it's a very kind of typical thing that happens. So that was kind of Zest responding well to the fact he saw this scan. He's like, oh, I see what's going on. Oh my god, this Marine shows up as the probes get recalled. What an amazing piece of information that is. Oh my god, he finds the sentries down the ramp. Loses 2 sentries before he can even cast the force fields from them, so only 3 force fields available now. Widowmine at least does go down, but as these force fields fade, the shield battery's out of energy. FanTaSy might just be able to go into this. He has an upgraded advantage as well. 3 more sentries warping in, so we'll have a few more force fields, but units are showing up on the top right-hand side. Probes will start to fall, and Oracle there to try and defend. A couple more sentries being brought into play, but the Liberator is showing up at the front as well. Now the sentries are starting to get picked off, so they'll do nothing more than the initial force fields that have already been placed. That one Immortal, if you can just bring this army up. I mean, again, now there's no force fields, right? He should just be able to stim into this. He's not even stimmed here. Sentries do go down. Again, more units running to the top right, and FanTaSy is absolutely going to close this out for Pixel 1 right now. Winning this game in the next few moments, because honestly there's not enough to defend. The Stalkers that are going to blink back are really not high enough in numbers. Zest types GG, and Ocean Gaming did not bring their A game today. And because of that, Pixel 1 will go 4-1, pick up the series. We'll still play game number 6, but we are guaranteed a Pixel 1 victory, and Pixel 1 will tie up with Triumphant Song Gaming at the top of Group B, while Ocean Gaming will sit in the middle of the pack alongside Chivo, with Psystorm and Black Knight coming up the trail. And Pixel 1 actually play against Black Knight next week. It should be another match that's very winnable for them. A match that Pixel 1 might be able to improve to a 3-0 scoreline on. TSG will have a tougher time against Chivo, although probably still overall the favorites there. Alright, jumping into this, getting this ready to roll. Gonna start up in a few moments' time. Zest vs FanTaSy going to be kicking off in a moment or two here from Thunderbird. So, again, we play this 6th map no matter what, but this is going to be our last game of the day, unfortunately, guys. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Alright, we are setting up to get this rolling. So we count down into Thunderbird. We're going to get this ready to roll. Alright, let's kick this off. Let's see what's going to happen. Game number 6. Our final game of the day. Again, guys, I know I said we'd do some marbles today, but as previously mentioned, something came up. I have to be out of here after this 6th game, this final map. So, appreciate you guys understanding. Let's just hope that it's a good TVP. As to the bottom right-hand side, our Red Protoss player from Ocean Gaming. This is Zest. Taking on the Blue Terran player to the top left-hand side from Pixel 1, FanTaSy. So game number 6 of this series as we get this ready to roll. Very excited to see what comes out of this here in the end. FanTaSy has been playing pretty well in that first game. Really did what he needed to do when he had the advantages. Saw the leads that he had, made use of them. Even scouting for the hidden base, you know, he realized, hey, you know, the third base not down, but also doesn't seem to have a ton of units. And just kind of figured out Hidden Nexus finds it at a great time just as the probe's transferred, right? Any earlier, and that Nexus actually just cancels, and so it, you know, you get the minerals back. But once the probes get recalled, oh my god, I mean, then you kill, you know, then the probes are ripe for the killing. That's obviously pretty crazy too, as we are going to be seeing this probe just come and scout here on Thunderbird for map number 6. Again, tomorrow, guys, we're going to be casting the OSC Masters Cup round of 12 playoffs. So that comes up tomorrow. I'll see you guys there for that. We'll also be casting a Year of Rain matches as well. So Year of Rain in the evening. So that's tomorrow's schedule. And again, then it's my days off for 4 days. I'm going to be playing some other games. I might stream some variety stuff, but not going to be casting any StarCraft for a couple of days. Going to be sat back and watching some WCS Fall, which you guys should be doing as well on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Command center building up on the natural expansion here as we see this probe from Zest coming along. Bow, bow, bow. Cyber core starting as we do see the Adept about halfway done, Corona boosting away. Not much to talk about just yet, as the Reaper will of course come and look for the information it can find early game, look to see if it can get any damage done as well. Slowly falling in the chat, cheering on FanTaSy. Let me know who you guys are cheering on in this series, guys. If there's anyone in particular, let us know. As the Adept tries to block the Reaper, but doesn't happen. Fire Council starting in the main base, about halfway done at the moment. Another gateway is building up as well, so get an idea of what Zest wants to do here. Blink-based opener, most likely. Try what will be done in a moment or two. Again, Cyclone production continuing on the factory. About halfway done as the barracks getting the reactor up and running as well. And the SCV going to go and pop down a starport over the left-hand side. This gateway from Zest going to be done in a moment or two as we do see the hallucination continuing to come up to the left side. We see the Cyclone lock-on is going to get rid of that, so hallucination will get killed. Again, this Reaper just set out in the center. So robot facility builds up in the naturals. Zest continue to get this going. Blink about halfway done. Third Nexus dropping down 2. So far, so good for both players. Nothing really too substantial. We do see some decisions being made, right? The faster third CC from FanTaSy here, and a Raven on the way up. So in general, FanTaSy is going to be going into a good bit of economy at the moment. Good bit of economy, and on top of that economy, we'll have the Raven and Siege Tanks to really supplement his army for a while. He might be playing mech. We did see him play mech yesterday. He has taken extra gases on the natural already. He's going to start Cloak. We saw him playing mech yesterday against Astray in 1 or 2 games, so it's absolutely a possibility for FanTaSy to bring out that style, which isn't necessarily the norm. Two more Forges on the way up from Zest. They're going to be finishing in a moment or two. Be able to start up those 1-1 upgrades, of course, as get those going. The charge starting up on the Twilight Council. It's going to be underway. So 1-1 on the way on the Forges, the charge on the Twilight. All of that getting going here as we do see these Stalkers just continuing up to the top side. Cyclone locked onto that hallucination for a moment or so. Stalkers going after the Cyclone. Picks that off. Nicely done. Ring of 2 starting to get picked away at as well. Good job on those Stalkers, just doing a good bit of damage and obviously utilizing that little blinkable path over there, over those minerals. Charge about halfway done then, so continuing along again. Stalkers continuing to the bottom for Zest as well, and just going to see this Banshee going to be the first real point of FanTaSy trying to deal some damage, but Zest is so ready for it. Hides the Stalkers, and the FanTaSy Banshee is too late to turn away. Good defense by Zest, really well done as a 4th Nexus drops down out in the front. More factories still coming into play, so it is indeed going to be this mech style. So what happens here usually is that the mech player actually builds up very quickly into like a very large Hellion tank force. And I do feel like Zest is setting up very well against that. Yesterday we saw some Colossus against it. I just don't feel that Colossus really find any value against that army. With Immortal Archon and Zealots as well, you can get really good flanks, and that's what you need to take down the army. And it's surprising how well you do in that scenario. That's even going to go into the Psy Storm, actually, so he's going to add some storms in against this style. So you are just going to be seeing the Warp Prism continuing out of the Robo. The Hallucinated Phoenix from Zest continues up to the top side. Marines will get a couple of shots off. Hallucination getting some tags onto the Raven there, and scouts around into the main base. Yeah, 8 factories coming up. Again, it's just going to be a ton of units from FanTaSy. And he will generally max out like 20 to 30 supply ahead of Zest. If you can push with that, obviously that's the scariest point of this game for the Protoss player. But I really do believe Zest is getting the correct setup to deal with. There's even 2 more Robos. The Stargate at the same time might start to be going a bit overkill in terms of how much you're building at once without actually getting units. See a few more Stalkers up the right-hand side. Prism has a few High Templars in there. So we will be seeing these few Stalkers pressing just to the front, just to see what they can spot, perhaps. Magfield Accelerator, Smart Servos, Infernal Pro-Igniter, all of the mech upgrades here from FanTaSy is going to unsiege and he's going to push forwards. And obviously taking the low ground 4th base means that you kind of want to hold this forward area, so just preparing for that already. Just getting ahead of the game a little bit. Cyclone with a good lock on there to kill the Hallucinated Phoenix flying by. Probes going down to the Hellions. It's pretty deadly. 11 workers on the run by. Make that 14. Damn. Hell of a run by out of kind of nowhere as well. Here you go, FanTaSy. Oh my god, if FanTaSy pushes down the left side, it's going to be a longer push, but he's going to completely avoid the vision of Zest. Depends if he's actually going to push or not. No, he's just going to go through the center. So he is going to push, but through the center of the map rather than down that side. Well, Zest in the meanwhile is actually going to start opening up these rocks on the left. So actually now we might see 4th base for a 4th base. FanTaSy is going to pull back. He did scan. He sees this army over here. Don't think FanTaSy's afraid of taking a larger kind of fight. Oh my god, great storm on the siege tanks. Really good storm to start off with. But now the Cyclone's coming in, getting a lot of lock-ons. Anti-armor missile helping a bit as well. Hellions still chasing this too. The Hellions are taking the brunt of force of the damage from the Immortals. They really aren't doing much to the Cyclones, which means a lot of damage output continues here. Lock-on stays on, and that's another Immortal dead. Only 1 Immortal left in all of this now, and that's where the 3 Robos might become very useful. As Zealots will start charging forwards, the Hellions will morph into Hellbats. The Blue Flame will do pretty well there. What is important is the fact that the siege tanks aren't friendly fire in the units that the Zealots are getting on top of because they weren't sieged. And that helps a lot as the Cyclones lock on one more time to pick off a Stalker. Resources lost is favoring FanTaSy by about 2k. And is up double the army supply as it continues to press across. Good lock on. Hits an Observer and the 2 Stalkers just get taken down. And now there is no tech in this army. It's just Stalkers and Zealots. Mortals are being produced. It's going to be a lot of Zealots, don't get me wrong. And they are going to come in from a couple of angles, but there's so many Hellbats here. It's absolutely what you want against this, as the Zealots go on towards the siege tanks as well. But using the charge on those, I mean, it just means the Hellbats are going to continue having a great time. And at the moment, the Cyclones are just enough and high enough numbers to just lock onto everything. And well, in the end, it feels as though Special losing that map to Firefly doesn't matter, because if FanTaSy was going to come in 2-0 Zest anyways, this series was going to be done no matter what. Probes going down to the 4th base. The Cyclones are just locking onto Stalkers as they warp in even. 25 probes killed in this attack and triple the army supply now as Hellions morph into Hellbats, and that Nexus is dropping. Stalkers still blinking back, trying to hang on in here as we see more Cyclones to reinforce over the other side. These couple of Zards are going to go down very quickly as well. Nexus falls. There is a base on that upper right, the 5th. But FanTaSy is just going to keep diving in towards this natural expansion. I mean, those Robos aren't even being put to use because, well, Zest, I don't even know actually. He can afford it, but maybe he just feels a couple of Mortals coming out isn't even going to save him from this current scenario. Cyclones being forced to kind of cut away towards the 3rd base, and Hellions has Hellbats in that 3rd mineral line, causing chaos as well. And again, the Cyclones just staying locked on, kiting away. A few Stalkers from the side. Again, that 5th base warp-in pylon is causing a lot of trouble so far. At the moment, Zealots might do okay because there's not really many Hellbats left any longer, but at the same time, it's just too much for FanTaSy, and FanTaSy's going to take this down